Hello and welcome to Rathods Science Academy. Today in this session we are going to see current affairs of 12th November 2024. So let's get started with our discussion. Okay, let us see the articles which are important from our newspaper today. Actually, there are 7 to 8 articles which are relevant from our syllabus point of view in our today's newspaper. Okay, say this title, guys. 10 armed militants killed by CRPF in Manipur. So what is happening in Manipur? Ethnic violence between which communities? Kukis and Metis. So which are these hill people and which are valley people? Kukis are? Metis are? Yeah, Metis, valleys and Kukis are tribal people who lives on hill. So which people are part of legislature in this Manipur? Metis or Kukis? Yes, Metis. Okay, so now what is the issue which is going on? So Metis, they are already the part of legislature and now they are asking for reservation under this tribe. So because of this issue which is going on here. Okay, now let us see what happened here at present. So armed militants, they were killed by CRPF in Manipur after they attacked a camp at Jakuradur and a police station. So actually armed militant group, they attacked polices and as well as some important camp areas. So finally the clashes which happened between this armed militants and as well as CRPF forces, and actually CRPF forces, they fired and finally 10 people, they had been killed in this incident. So here Kuki Zoo Council is claiming that the dead were village volunteers. So the people who were died were village volunteers and they demands investigation. Okay, so these people, they are now asking for this investigation, everything. So now actually police are saying that we recovered arms and ammunition from these people. Because of that we done the fire or else we did not done the fire. So if you see here, in this ongoing ethnic conflict which had been started from 2023 March onwards, more than 260 deaths which are happened. So this is official data, we don't know how many people they died unofficially. Okay, now let us see some important key points that you have to recover from this article. So first point here is there is escalating of violence. So here, because of this kind of attacks which are happening in this region, so we can understand that there is rising of violence between the armed groups and as well as security forces in Manipur. So whenever this kind of violence is happening, can we maintain law and order? No. And even there will be some instability, especially in the border region. And second important point here is civil society response. So actually now Kuki Zoo councils, they are demanding for a probe. That means they are demanding for investigation regarding this thing. So whenever these civil society organizations, they are entering, means obviously that will increase distrust in the society. Okay, so actually now we can understand the role of civil society in advocating for accountability. So actually if you see this word civil society, it is part of your syllabus in your governance. So whenever you are writing about the civil society and their role, again you can take the example of Kuki Zoo Council. Recently they demanded for investigation in recent Manipur violence case. So there also you can add one more point which is value added to your answer whenever you are writing about the role of civil society. And this is also a very favorite area of UPSC. UPSC might be asking question regarding the civil society in your mains from GS paper 2. Okay, and actually the issue which is going on between these Kukis and as well as Metis and these communities, there is increasing of ethical tensions actually. So actually they are talking about historical grievances. So because of this, that is leading to the violence and unrest. So actually now the issue is going on regarding reservation for this Metis in this Manipur. And because of all these issues, obviously it will be becoming challenges for our security forces to maintain law and order. Especially you have to know about internal security mandate that we are having in our country, which will be dealing with violence or communal violence in our country. For example, this article is talking about CRPF forces. Especially in this northeast, normally we will be having Assam rifles. Okay, you have to know about the mandate of Assam rifles in controlling the violence in this northeast, because we will be having mostly insurgency problem in this northeast region. It is one of internal security problem that we are having. To control that internal security problem of like insurgency, we will be having the CRPF forces, especially we encouraging Assam rifles regarding this controlling of law and order in this northeast region. And next one here is because of this kind of conflict, so people will be displacing from that area obviously to save their life, to save their property, etc. So because of this violence which had started from this May 2023 onwards, more than 60,000 people they have been displaced due to the conflict. Okay, so because of this, it is also posing one humanitarian challenge as well. So because of this, even state government need to take some proper steps to control this migration as well. So what is the meaning of migration? What do you mean by this migration? Moving of people from one area to another area. So can you tell me some types of migrations? Urban to rural, rural to rural. Next, rural to urban and urban to urban migration. So apart from this, we will be having interstate migration, intrastate migration, and international migration. Intra means between the states. So within the state, they will be moving from one district to another district. Interstate means from one state to another state. International means from one country to another country. So here in this violence case, we will be having interstate and as well as intrastate migration. So here it is a responsibility of states even for the proper coordination to control this proper this migration as well. So in the recent news, we are studying about coordination between the states is very important regarding conservation of our environment and ecology, conservation of biodiversity, right? So recently, we are getting radio callers to conserve elephants of Madhya Pradesh from Tamil Nadu. So there again, we studied about interstate collaboration, how the states need to be collaborate with each other. So in the same way, whenever we are talking about this migration also, to control interstate migration, we need proper coordination between the states. So one more example there you can add is about migration issue, and that too Manipur violence case. Okay, so actually what are the steps taken by the government to control this? So government is issuing some prohibitory orders, and it indicates that government is also taking some reactive steps for controlling of this unrest. But what are the steps taken by the government? It is not enough. So it is further fueling this kind of issues. So here we need to take more measures, more enforcement of laws so that we can maintain law and order. And next one here is even whenever the attacks is happening and whenever the civilians are dying, so it is the responsibility of government to ensure public safety as well. And government need to focus on the proper enforcement of law, especially in these conflict areas. It is the responsibility of government to ensure safety. Okay, so these are the points that you have to remember and go through the past of what are the reasons why that led to this Manipur violence now. And say this article, guys. United Nations raises alarm as climate talks kick off in Azerbaijan. So what is this article talking about? COP29. So when it started? Today, what is the date? 12. So when it started? 11. Very good. So from yesterday onwards, these talks had been started. So tell me about what might be the discussions we are going to have in this COP29. So what do you think if you are a foreign affairs minister, or like if you are like environment ministry head, if you are a secretary under environment ministry, so what are the suggestions you will be giving to the government of India? Like on which areas we have to talk? Huh? Climate finance, okay, next. Okay, technology transfer, next. Carbon emissions reduction, okay, next. Next, on what topics you will be giving suggestions, guys? Climate? Okay, climate-based resolutions. Next, tell me. Come on. Think and tell me. So on what topics you will be giving suggestions to government? Reducing of urban heat islands. How you can reduce? So if you are reducing urban areas or urbanization, can we ensure development? No. Again, we can apply theory of double effect. Carbon emissions, okay. Okay, we can promote electronic vehicles. Next. Okay, let us see this article. So this is important from your environment and ecology. And there is a high chance of getting prelims based question as well as means based question on this COP29 for sure. Okay, now let us see here what exactly this article is saying about. So context is saying that 29th COP29 commenced in Baku, Azerbaijan, and they are focusing on raising concerns from United Nations about the state of climate goals under Paris Agreement. So first focused point here is Paris Agreement. So what is this Paris Agreement is about? So tell me in which year we came up with this Paris Agreement? 2015. Not 16, not in 2015 we came up with this Paris Climate Agreement. So what are the important things focused under this agreement? Reducing of global temperature. So what is the number? 1.5 to 2 degrees centigrade when we are comparing with year 1990s, that is pre-industrial levels. Okay, so actually this article is saying that in this 2024 we got recorded temperatures. There is very high temperature that we see in this 2014. So can you tell me some examples which substantiate that there is increasing of temperature in 2024? So are there any examples? Yeah, heat waves where? In Europe also we had heat waves this year. And even which state declared this heat wave as a disaster? Yes, Tamil Nadu. Okay, next. Even in the northern part also we had very high temperature now this year. Because of that, that led to even fires in dumping sites, especially in Delhi region. Yes, these are some examples which says that yes, there is increasing of temperature. So here this article is saying that yes, this year, which is a record-breaking year for temperature, now we have to focus on climate financing, particularly very wealthy nations, they have to contribute to the developing and as well as less developed countries. And even one more important issue they are focusing is, again, Donald Trump had been re-elected for the second phase. So actually, he was the person who came out of this Paris climate deal. Okay, so because of this, now again some concerns are there regarding whether this US, which will be going to be committed to its climate goals or not. So this is the summary of this article. They focused on climate deal and they focused on increasing of temperatures now and about US. So this is the first day discussions. Okay, now let us see some important key points that you have to remember. So here United Nations is warning now about temperature records. So here United Nations is saying that if you are not taking any steps now, then we are going to come into a huge number of disasters. So here we are going to have the threat of climate change. So here we need very urgent international action so that we can adhere to the climate agreement. So if you are not achieving this target of Paris agreement, here world is going to be get into a disaster. So this is the thing which mainly warned by United Nations. And especially in this COP29, we are focusing on climate finance. So what is the meaning of climate finance and what is the target of climate finance, guys? What is this climate finance? Developed countries, they have to contribute money to developing and less developed countries. So what is the target every year? $100 billion. Yes, so you have to remember that. Okay. So here this article is saying that we need to have over 1 trillion which is needed to support developing nations in climate adaptation and mitigation efforts. And actually there is also some political influence that we can see. The re-election of Trump, which is complicating climate diplomacy, as past US withdrawal from this Paris agreement, which raises doubts about the future commitments. And yes, we don't know like whether the Trump will be changing his ideology regarding this climate finance or not, or climate goals or not. So there is very huge uncertain about whether US will be committed towards this global negotiation regarding this climate goals or not. And next one here is even self-interest is very much important in climate action. So here whenever we are talking about this climate financing or like goals of the government or anything. So here countries need to have the self-interest. So these wealthy countries, they have to view climate financing as a good strategic investment, rather than they should not believe like we are giving charity to developed or developing countries. Okay, so they should not believe that we are giving just mere charitable giving. So they have to believe that, so whenever we are providing something under this climate finance, so it will be one of the strategic investment, because that will be helpful for that country in the future. So like that they have to believe. And if you see the global temperature trends, there is increasing of global temperature is happening, especially from period of 2015 to 2014, 2024. So 2024, which had been said to be the warmest on record. So because of this, we have to take some urgent need on reduction of emissions, and we have to come up with emission reduction strategies. And next one here is countries need to come together to come up with a new collective quantified goal on climate finance. So whenever we are coming up with this kind of agreements, obviously the developed countries, they will be focusing on mobilizing of resources, and they will be ensuring accountability among the nations. And next one here is we have to reduce our dependency on fossil fuels. So this is the point which mainly said. So here countries, they have to develop their own energy policies where they will be reducing their dependence on this fossil fuels, and they have to focus on renewable energy things. So can you tell me what are the renewable energy targets of India regarding solar and wind energy? Any idea? So what is the target of generating solar energy by India, and what is the target year? So earlier we have 125 gigawatts, but we already achieved the target and we increased it to 500 gigawatts. And what is the target year? Think 2025, 2030 or 2035 or 2047. No? Think once again. I want it. So see this bird. What is this bird? Have you ever seen this bird? Bird. This bird. Karnataka guys, Tamil Nadu guys. Pullicat. What is the name of that bird? Bird name? Have you seen this AP guys? It is not crane. See here, is it looking like a crane? It is not vulture. It came from Siberia. It came from Siberia. No. They are some class of pelicans. Pelicans. Okay. So actually these pelicans, they belongs to genus of large water birds. So actually what are the cranes that you can see in our fields are very small in size, but they are very big in size. They are very large water birds, and that make up the, they come up from this family called as Pelicidae. And actually they will be having very long beak, and they will be having very large throat pouch, and it is used for catching of prey. Okay, and here in this pelicans, we have 8 types of pelicans. So we have 8 types of pelicans globally, and they will be present in the different areas. So one important point that you have to remember is, normally we can see this gray pelican. So gray pelican is also called as spot-billed pelican, which is listed under Schedule 1 of our Wildlife Protection Act. And actually it is considered as globally threatened species, and especially in Kolleru Lake, in some areas we can see these gray pelicans. So one important fact regarding these gray pelicans is, so they stopped coming to India from 1973. So till 1973 they came. So after this 1973 they stopped coming, and finally they returned India from, they are coming to India from 2006. So why? Because of climate change. Okay, this is very important point. And say this article, seaplane lands in Mattupetti Dam raises ecological concerns. So recently we discussed about seaplane, in which state which had been inaugurated? In Andhra Pradesh. On which river? River Krishna. Okay, so this is talking about sea plain in Kerala. Okay, so what happens if you are having this kind of sea plains? It will be helpful for our economy. Yes. How it will be helpful for our economy? Increasing of tourism. Yes, disaster times we can go for relief and rescue in some areas where we have remote. Next. What are the advantages of the seaplanes? Types. Two types. What are they? Land, sea, air. Types of seaplanes. Float boats and float planes. Next. So tell me how these seaplanes are advantages. Advantage of seaplanes. Tourism, economy. Next, disaster relief. Next, transportation. What? Sign. Okay, surveillance. Okay, next. Very good. Okay, so actually, whatever the positives you have, you can write with examples. But even because of the seaplanes, we are having negative things. It is having impact on our environment and ecology. So can you tell me how it is causing impact on our environment and ecology? Okay, because of sound, what will be the impact? Okay, flora and fauna disturb. Fauna will disturb, and how this fauna will disturb? Diesel, petrol, because of that emissions. Okay, next. Marine biodiversity will be getting affected. Uh, uh, Sea floor could okay, sea floor will get affected. Next. Huh? So actually this article is saying that especially sea plane which is running in this Kochi, especially in this Mettupeti dam, so which is having concerns on elephants. Okay, let us see this. So this is important from your environment and ecology, which comes in the GS paper 3. So actually the trail run of Kerala's first seaplane service landed at Mettupeti Dam, which is raising ecological concerns because it is very near to sensitive wildlife habitats. So whenever we are running the seaplanes, which is very much near to the sensitive wildlife habitats, it will be having negative impact on our ecology. So here officials, they are saying that this service will be helpful for boosting of tourism. Okay, it's okay because it is helpful for our development and economy, everything, but it is also having impact on our local wildlife. It is disturbing the life of this local wildlife, especially particularly wild elephants which is present here. So here now this forest department which is saying that we can come up with any mitigation plan to minimize the impacts. And even environmentalists and activists, they are demanding for halting of this project. Okay. Now let us see some important points that you have to remember. The first one is tourism versus ecology. So now there is tension between promoting of tourism through innovations like seaplanes, and even there is some concern regarding ecological integrity. So here you can apply this theory of double effect. So here there is also a chance of getting a case study regarding this. Seaplane is helpful for tourism and development. On another side, it is having impact on environment and ecology. So what are the measures you will be taking? So there you have to apply that theory of double effect and try to solve that case study. Okay, next one here is the presence of seaplanes in sensitive areas like this kind of Mettupeti dam that will leads to increased human-animal conflicts. So whenever this kind of service which had been started means obviously people will be coming to get that service at least to see how that is, how they want to experience this kind of things. So because of this, that will leads to obviously increasing of human-animal conflict, particularly with endangered species like wild elephants. So especially these animals, they are present only in these habitats. And next one is, so there is also recommendations for mitigation plan by the forest department, which highlights that yes, forest department is taking proper steps for the conservation of the biodiversity, and even they are also focusing on ensuring of tourism development, and they don't want to compromise on ecological balance. And next one here is local environmentalists and stakeholders and activists. They're actively raising their voice regarding the concerns. So here, whenever we want to focus on this conservation of animals or conservation of our environment, biodiversity, etc., always we'll be saying about community participation or community engagement is very important. So whenever writing about any answer regarding what is the importance of community or community awareness regarding conservation, then you can add one more point here. So sea plains, that is having impact on the wild elephants. So community or raising concerns regarding the halting of that thing. And next one, yeah, huh? Yes, local employment will be created, but obviously it is having impact on environment. And next one here is we have to come with some sustainable solutions so that we have to minimize the disruption on the wildlife, and we have to balance economic growth with environment. And next one here is whenever people are saying no, we have to halt this project, that means these people's sentiments had been affected by that project. So here we have to take these people's sentiments also into consideration, and we need better policy implementation. Okay, so that is the thing. And say this article, India Bangladesh officials to discuss new avenues of trade. Okay, so what happened in Bangladesh recently? Sheikh Hasina, political instability. So finally now this Bangladesh is in control of whom? Military? Yes. So in this military control, we are going to participate to develop some infrastructure and land ports along this Bangladesh-India border. Okay, so we are going to have some infrastructure projects. So write down this. So there is a high chance of getting question regarding India-Bangladesh relations in 2025 means. So there they may be asking like how political instability will be having impact on India-Bangladesh relations. So there you can write a positive thing like, yes, the Bangladesh which is under control of military also, we are going for development of infrastructure projects like land ports along India-Bangladesh border. Okay, so actually we are going to improve this infrastructure that will be helpful for trade and as well as increasing of connectivity. So how it is helpful? We can improve our trade and we can improve our connectivity. And we can focus on regional economic integration, and next point here is cross-border cooperation. So this will be the advantage of this kind of agreements. And next article is high prevalence of sexual violence against gay, bisexual men across 6 cities say study. So whenever we are talking about sexual violence, you will be seeing, or one thing will come into your mind is sexual violence against children and as well as women. So our thinking is limited to only these two groups, but even this study is saying that not only women and child, they are vulnerable to this sexual violence, but even gay and bisexual women, that is transgenders, are also being vulnerable to this sexual violence. So whenever you're writing about sexual violence, don't only limit your answer towards children and women, but even you can write this case study of gay and bisexual men as well. That is about regarding transgenders. So write down this data. So research published by BMC Public Health. Research published by BMC Public Health. Research published by BMC Public Health said that bisexual men and gay across various states found violence against men and the next point write causes or write factors, low income and low education or literacy. So these are the factors that leading to this sexual violence against these people. And the data is saying that 78% gay man and 44% bisexual men, they faced sexual violence. Okay, so these 2 points, if you write them, then you will be knowing. Okay, see this article. Giving shape to India's carbon credit mechanism. What is this carbon credit? In earlier class, we had discussions. Tell me carbon credit mechanism. Huh? Okay, that is called as carbon credit. Can you tell me the mechanisms of carbon credit? How many types of carbon credit we have? Forgot. Very good. So this article is important from GS paper 3 under environment and ecology. Now let us see this article in detail, especially we are focusing on this carbon credit mechanism, and there is a high chance of getting questioned both prelims and mains regarding this. So what are these carbon markets? So carbon markets are essential components of cap and trade programs. So why we came up with this carbon credits? To decrease greenhouse gas emissions. So because of this, they are also called as emission trading systems. So the types here is, the first one is voluntary carbon markets. So voluntary is nothing but they refers to the issuance, buying or selling of carbon credit on voluntary basis. They are called as voluntary carbon markets. And second one here is compliance markets. That means if we are going for any national or regional or international policy or any agreement, so based on that, if you are implementing that, that is called as compliance market. So first one is voluntary. That means with their wish, they will be going for selling or trading of this emissions. Compliance means if any agreement or if there is any memorandum of understanding, it may be at regional level, national level, international level, so we have to follow that. That is called as compliance market. So how these carbon markets are working? So we have three important types. So first one is cap and trade. So cap and trade means nothing but for every industry there will be certain limits, like 100 carbon emissions they can emit. So after that they should be not emitting. So here under this cap and trade, so government will be giving certain cap of emitting of carbon dioxide emissions in the atmosphere, and if they are fulfilling that, it's okay. If they are releasing less, they will be going for trading with another company which is releasing more amount than compared to the 100 limit. So that is called as cap and trade. Next one here is carbon credit and allowances. So under this carbon credit and allowances, so carbon credits like tradable permits, they can trade in the markets. So even they can go for interstate or intrastate or even international, they will be going for trading of their permits. And next one is pricing carbon. Pricing carbon is nothing but based on the carbon dioxide emissions, they have to pay price to the government. That is called as pricing carbon. So we are focusing on reducing of emissions by the organizations. So if they have to pay the money to the government, they will try to reduce the emissions, yes or no? If there is no paying of money, whatever they want, they will be releasing. Okay, so we want to control these emissions through these three mechanisms. And if you see what are the India's climate goals and carbon trading, so India facing dual challenge. The first one is development goals. For example, India is having a lot of poverty, hunger and malnutrition, everything they are having. Okay, so here government is focusing especially on challenge like poverty alleviation, and as well as second problem here is energy access. So we have to focus on reducing of our problems, and even we have to focus on reducing of emissions. And the second important problem we are having is NDCs, that is nationally determined contribution. So here India's NDCs includes targets which are related to energy sector. So these target includes reducing of emissions intensity of GDP by 45%, which when we compare to this 2005 levels by 2030. So the target here is we have to reduce the emissions of 45%. And next one here is, if you see in India, we are also having this domestic carbon trading system now. Okay, so that trading system we came up based on Energy Conservation Amendment Bill of 2022. This bill is empowering the government to create this carbon markets within our country. And the important aim of this carbon trading system in India is obviously reducing of emissions, and we want to promote some sustainable development practices. And next one here is we also have this program called as CBAM, that is Mitigating European Union's Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism. So European Union came up with this mechanism of controlling this carbon. So with this European Union implementing this CBAM from 2024 October 1st onwards, so India is also trying to come up with this same kind of thing to control decarbonization, to take some measures for decarbonization. So all these efforts which government came up, especially government of India, it is to control emissions. Okay, clear? So these are the important topics that appeared in our today's Hindu newspaper. So by this I'm concluding, and please refer once text and context as well. Okay, so there are some important things, but already we had discussions in our earlier classes. So because of this, I didn't took for today's discussion. So see that once. So that's all, guys. If you like this class, please hit the like button and please do share this class to your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to Rathods IAS Academy. And thank you.